Young disabled ballerina performs on the streets and people barely slow down. Lena Hart balances on her weakened leg near Union Square, steadying herself against the cold pavement while a worn speaker crackles behind her. She moves because she needs the hours, not because anyone cares. The city rushes by, suits, shopping bags, passing judgments. Then a black car stops at the curb. A man steps out, sharply dressed, clearly wealthy. He watches her in a way no one else has all day. For a moment, everything freezes, and what he does next is nothing anyone on that sidewalk expects. Lena Hart grew up in a cramped third-floor walk-up in the Bronx, the kind of place where every footstep from upstairs sounded like it belonged in their living room. She was born with partial paralysis in her left leg, the result of a complicated birth her mother still refuses to talk about. Doctors said she might walk with difficulty, but she would never dance. Her mother, Rosa, answered with the same phrase she used for every challenge in their life. Stand where you can, dance where you must. It became the family creed, repeated during thunderstorms, late rent notices, and hospital appointments. Lena clung to ballet not because she expected greatness, but because moving, however unevenly, made her feel like her body wasn't the enemy. She trained with online videos, charity classes, and relentless hours alone in their hallway. On good days, her leg responded like it remembered something soft and graceful. On bad days, it locked tight and left her breathless with pain. Still, she danced. Money was always thin. Rosa worked double shifts at a neighborhood deli, while Lena took small jobs, tutoring kids, sweeping the local studio floor, to pay for elastic bands, secondhand shoes, and bus fare. She kept $6.25 in a tiny zippered pouch at all times. It wasn't much, but it was hers. And it represented one thing she refused to lose: independence. New York's public spaces became her stages. Empty subway platforms in the early mornings, community center hallways that smelled of sweat and detergent, and now the busy sidewalks of Union Square, where she performed to earn the required public hours for a scholarship audition that could change everything. She didn't expect attention or applause. She only needed a chance. She only needed enough people to walk by without taking it away. For months, Lena had been working toward a single opening, an audition with the East Village Community Dance Initiative, a small but respected program known for giving overlooked dancers a real shot. They didn't care about pedigree. They cared about grit. To qualify for the audition, each applicant needed verified public performance hours, evidence of consistency, resilience, and artistry under real-world pressure. Lena had nearly earned enough, but the deadline was only days away. With no studio space she could afford, the streets became her final option. If she gathered the last few hours here, she could walk into that audition with her head up and her clipboard signed. But if she failed, there were no backup plans, no second round, no savings account waiting to catch her. Without the audition, she'd age out of youth programs within the year. Opportunities would shrink to nothing. The working world would swallow her days, and dance would be pushed to the corners of stolen minutes and borrowed spaces. So she returned to Union Square, windy, uneven, unforgiving. She set down her speaker, tightened the brace under her leggings, and prepared to earn what remained of her chance. The fragile hope she carried felt almost too delicate to hold. The afternoon crowd at Union Square was restless. Tourists drifting in clusters, students laughing too loudly, vendors calling out deals no one stopped to hear. Lena took a slow breath, braced her left leg, and began her routine. The music was thin, distorted by the cheap speaker, but she knew every beat by heart. Her arms rose first, then H. Right leg lifted cleanly, carrying the weight her left couldn't. She moved with practiced control, each motion sharper than her body felt, At first, no one paid much attention. That wasn't unusual. What mattered was that she kept going. Then a group of teenagers approached, 3 boys and a girl, all holding iced drinks and wearing matching smirks. They hovered too close, whispering behind cupped hands. Lena tried to ignore them, but the girl stepped forward and tilted her phone toward her face. "Yo, check this out," the girl said loudly. "Street Ballet Disability Edition." The others burst into laughter. Lena's chest tightened, but she kept moving, refusing to let the tremor in her leg win. One of the boys bent down to examine her tip jar. "There's like, what, $4 in here?" he said, though he could clearly see the $6.25. "She's basically begging." Lena swallowed the sting. "I'm performing," she said softly. "That's different." "Is it?" another boy replied. Jar with his sneaker. Coins rattled. The girl's live stream comments flickered on her screen. Mocking emojis, rude jokes, taunts about Lena's brace. The group laughed harder, encouraged by the digital applause. Lena's balance wavered. Her left leg trembled. Still, she lifted her chin and continued her sequence. But the boys didn't stop. One step behind her, mimicking her movements in exaggerated, jerky motions. "Look, I'm a ballerina too," he shouted. People nearby glanced over, unsure whether to intervene or pretend they saw nothing. The final blow came fast. The tallest boy kicked the edge of her speaker. It toppled, cracking against the pavement. The music cut out mid-note. Her tip jar fell with it, coins scattering in every direction. Her $6.25 rolled away like something fleeing. Lena dropped to her knees, scrambling to gather the coins before someone stepped on them. The teens laughed harder, filming every second. Her face burned. Her throat tightened. She could feel the tension build, humiliation sinking into her bones. The performance hours she needed were ruined. Her chance was slipping away right there on the cold concrete. And no one moved to stop it. Across the plaza, Marcus Ellery stood beside a sleek town car, checking the time on his watch for the 3rd time in a minute. He had a meeting downtown, a reservation later that evening, and a portfolio call he needed to return before sunset. His life ran on schedules so tight they seemed to compress the air around him. He wasn't supposed to be looking anywhere else. But the fall of a small speaker, sharp, final, caught his attention. At first, he saw only a cluster of teenagers pointing their phones toward the ground. Then he noticed the girl on her knees, gathering scattered coins with shaking hands. People moved around her like she was part of the sidewalk, something to step over or avoid, something inconvenient. Marcus's brow tightened. He recognized the shape of humiliation the way others recognized a familiar song. He had grown up under the cold, exacting eye of a father who believed success was proof of worth and failure a personal flaw. Marcus had been raised in rooms where silence was polished, where mistakes were remembered like debts. He had spent years building a life that looked invulnerable from the outside. Penthouse views, tailored suits, car services that never kept him waiting. And yet, watching Lena, he felt something sharp jab against that polished surface. He didn't know why he walked a few steps closer. It wasn't empathy. At least, that's what he told himself. Maybe curiosity. Maybe annoyance at the teenager's noise. Maybe the uncomfortable recognition that wealth insulated him from these moments, while she had no such shield. The girl struggled to stand, bracing one hand on the pavement, her leg refusing to cooperate. When she finally rose, her expression was tight with effort, not weakness, but fierce control. He noticed the brace beneath her leggings, the uneven distribution of weight, the way her posture tried to hide it but didn't succeed. The teens continued filming, entertained by their own cruelty. Marcus felt a pressure build behind his sternum, the same pressure he'd felt years ago at a board meeting when a senior partner humiliated a junior analyst just to flex power. He had stayed silent then. He felt the echo of that silence now, as he watched Lena collect the last coin, carefully, as if it mattered more than anything else. Marcus realized he was about to step into something messier than he'd intended. And for reasons he couldn't explain, he didn't turn away. Marcus moved before he had fully decided to. One moment he was beside the idling car. The next he was crossing the plaza with brisk, purposeful steps. The teenagers didn't notice him at first. They were too busy celebrating their own cruelty. But the moment his shadow fell across them, there, faltered. "Hey," Marcus said, voice low but firm. "That's enough." The tallest boy rolled his eyes. "Relax, man. We're just having fun." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Fun doesn't involve kicking someone's equipment or filming her without consent. "Pick up her speaker." The boy hesitated. Marcus's suit, his watch, his cold, unwavering stare, they all signaled one thing: power, the kind teenagers recognized instinctively. The boy muttered something under his breath, but he stooped down and retrieved the battered speaker. "Now leave," Marcus added. They exchanged looks, unsure whether to push back or retreat. Ultimately, they chose the latter, slinking away with half-hearted curses. The girl turned off her live stream only after Marcus fixed her with an unimpressed look. When they were gone, silence settled between him and Lena. She stood rigidly, arms crossed protectively over her chest, still breathing unevenly from the shock and effort. Her eyes flooded speaker, then to her tip jar, now mostly empty. "I didn't ask for help," she said quietly. Marcus nodded once. "I know." He crouched and picked up the last coin she had missed. A tiny copper penny. He held it out to her, but she didn't take it. Her jaw tightened. "I can handle myself," she added. "I'm sure you can." Marcus straightened. "But you shouldn't have to handle people like that alone." The onlookers who had ignored her moments earlier now lingered, curious about this unexpected exchange between the worn-out street performer and the polished businessman. Their eyes made Lena feel even smaller. Marcus reached into his coat and pulled out his wallet. He took a $100 bill and placed it in her tip jar. Her spine stiffened. "No, it's not charity," he said. "Everything about it is charity," she shot back, the heat in her voice surprising even herself. "I earn what I get. That's how it works." He paused, measuring her resolve. "Then considerate payment for a performance interrupted." Lena stepped back. "I don't sell my dignity." A murmur rippled through the small crowd. Marcus's expression changed. Respect mixed with something more complex. He nodded and removed the bill from the jar, folding it back into his wallet. "Fair enough," he said, and in that moment, Lena standing barefoot against the cold concrete, Marcus holding a useless offering he had never meant to insult. A strange, charged shift settled between them. Nothing about this encounter would remain simple. That evening, Lena returned to the Bronx with her speaker wrapped in her jacket and her pride scraped raw. Her mother was waiting at the small kitchen table, elbows planted beside a half-finished cup of tap water. Rosa always seemed to know when something had gone wrong, some instinct sharpened by years of raising two kids alone. "What happened?" she asked, voice soft but unyielding. Lena set the broken speaker on the table. The crack running across its side looked worse in their dim kitchen light. "Kids messed with me. It's fine." Rosa frowned. "Doesn't look fine." "I handled it," Lena insisted, though the words felt thin. Rosa folded her arms. "Someone told me a man stepped in. A rich man. You turned down money he offered you?" Lena's shoulders tightened. "Because it was pity." "It was help," Rosa corrected. "We could use help." Lena shook her head fiercely. If I take charity every time someone feels sorry for me, then I'm exactly what they think I am. Rose, pride doesn't pay for shoes. Pride doesn't fix speakers. Pride won't get you to that audition. Lena snapped back, but dignity keeps me standing. Rosa pushed her chair back, frustration breaking through her calm. Dignity doesn't disappear because you accept support. You think I raised this family alone without taking help where I could? You think survival means pretending we're above everyone? Lena's throat tightened. You taught me to stand where I can. I'm trying. That's the problem, Rosa said quietly. You're standing so hard, you won't let anyone stand with you. The words struck deeper than Lena expected. She looked away, unable to answer. The silence that followed felt like a narrow hallway. Neither of them could leave. For the first time, Lena wondered if her creed had hardened into a cage. The next afternoon, Lena walked into the East Side Community Center to log her hours, clutching the clipboard like it held together the last of her resolve. The receptionist told her someone was already waiting to speak with her. She expected a coordinator, maybe someone checking on the performance forms. She did not expect Marcus Ellery, standing awkwardly near a row of plastic chairs that squeaked whenever anyone shifted. He looked out of place, too polished, too controlled, too much money in a room built from scraped budgets and hand-me-down furniture. Lena stopped several feet away. "Why are you here?" "I came to make sure you were okay," Marcus said. "Yesterday shouldn't have happened." "I'm fine," she said, though her voice wavered. "You didn't need to follow me across the city." "I didn't follow you," he corrected calmly. "I contacted the center. I thought it was the right channel." "The right channel for what?" Her voice sharpened. "Fixing me?" Marcus exhaled. "I'm not trying to fix you. I'm trying to acknowledge that you were treated unfairly." Lena crossed her arms. "You don't get to walk in here with your perfect suit and talk about fairness. Your life doesn't involve fairness. It involves access." He blinked, taken aback. "Access doesn't erase responsibility." "Responsibility?" She laughed once, bitterly. "You don't even know me. You saw one moment and decided you had the authority to step in. That's not responsibility. That's intrusion." "It was protection," Marcus countered. Those kids weren't the problem," she interrupted. "The problem is you thinking I needed you to make it stop. You don't know what I've had to push through. I don't break because someone laughs at me." Marcus's expression tightened, not with anger, but with something wounded and complicated. "I didn't step in because I think you're fragile. I stepped in because I couldn't stand there and be the kind of person who watches cruelty does nothing." Lena hesitated. That admission caught her off guard. But the anger had momentum. "And the money? Was that you doing something too?" He met her gaze steadily. "The money was a mistake. Not because I offered it, but because I didn't understand what it meant to you. It meant you assumed I needed saving. And you assumed I was trying to save myself by saving you." She faltered, surprised he saw that clearly. A long silence stretched between them, heavy but not hostile. Marcus finally said, "You don't have to accept anything from me, but don't misinterpret the intention behind it. I wasn't trying to make you smaller." Lena swallowed hard. "Then stop treating me like I'm breakable." "I'm not," he said. "I'm trying to treat you like someone who deserves better." She didn't answer. She wasn't sure she had the words. They stood there in the cheap-lighted hallway, two people from opposite worlds, wrestling with the bruises neither could see. How to speak without hurting anymore? The tension between them might have ended there, if not for the community center director, Ms. Ruiz, who emerged from her office just in time to witness their uneasy silence. She was a sharp-eyed woman with decades of experience reading young people and wealthier benefactors, and she missed nothing. Good, she said, clasping her hands. You're both here. Saves me a phone call. Lena blinked. Both? Ms. Ruiz nodded. Marcus is sponsoring our upcoming arts fundraiser. Lena, you're performing in the showcase portion. We're short-staffed, so I've assigned you two to work together on planning the program. She handed them a folder stuffed with schedules and budget notes. You'll need to coordinate rehearsal slots, space setup, and performer outreach. Event is in 10 days. Lena stared. You're pairing us? Unless you want to lose your performance slot, Ms. Ruiz replied evenly. We all help where we can. Marcus didn't look thrilled. He nodded with resigned professionalism. Understood. Miss Ruiz walked away before either could protest. Left alone, Lena and Marcus exchanged a look that was part frustration, part disbelief, and part reluctant acceptance. Lena sighed first. Fine, we work together, but this doesn't change anything. Marcus gave a faint, wry smile. Didn't expect it to. They sat across from each other in a small meeting room, sharing a scarred wooden table covered with paint stains. The contrast between his organized notepad and her scribbled planner was almost comical. Yet the work forced them to speak, to compromise, strategize, adjust. Lena showed him how local performers operated on tight margins and unpredictable schedules. Marcus explained logistics, budgeting, and negotiating with vendors. Slowly, awkwardly, something shifted. Their conversations grew less defensive. Their silences became less sharp. They weren't friends. Not yet. But for the first time, they weren't. The night before the fundraiser, the community center felt unusually still. Most of the lights were off, leaving only the practice studio illuminated. A wide room with scuffed floors, dusty mirrors, and the faint smell of resin and old sweat. Lena stayed late to rehearse, needing just one more run-through to convince herself she belonged on the program. Marcus appeared in the doorway with a stack of revised event brochures. Ms. Ruiz asked me to drop these off, he said. Oh, he didn't immediately leave. Lena kept stretching, trying to pretend her leg wasn't shaking. After a moment, she said, "You can put them anywhere." He placed the brochures on a chair, but lingered, watching her quietly. Not judging, not pitying, just noticing. Her breathing hitched when her left leg locked mid-movement. She dropped to the floor hard, catching herself with her palms. Pain shot up her arm. Marcus took a step forward. "Are you hurt?" "No," she said through clenched teeth. "This hap." I get back up. But she didn't get up right away. She sat there, shoulders trembling, frustration rising like heat. Marcus sank onto the floor across from her, leaving space between them. "You don't have to pretend it's easy." Lena let out a hollow laugh. "If I don't pretend it's easy, people think I shouldn't try." He leaned back on his hands. "My whole life is the opposite. If I don't pretend everything is hard, people think I didn't earn it." She looked at him, caught off guard. Marcus continued, voice low. "Growing up, my father had two rules. Don't complain and don't fail. Anything less than perfect meant you weren't good enough. I built my entire life around avoiding the moment someone could say that about me." Lena swallowed. "So you hide behind success, and you hide behind strength," he replied. The words hung between them, startlingly accurate. For the first time, Lena really saw him. Not the suit, not the wealth, but the rigid shell of someone who had been shaped, pressured, and cornered in ways money couldn't fix. And Marcus saw her, not as fragile or stubborn, but as someone carrying a weight that demanded its own kind of resilience. She rubbed her brace, exhaling slowly. "I don't want help because I'm scared it means I can't do it alone." Marcus nodded. "And I offer help because I'm scared of being the person who stays silent." Their eyes met, not in pity or argument, but in understanding. Two different traps, two different prisons, and for the first time, both of them saw the way out might involve the other. Not because they needed saving, but because they needed honesty. The room felt lighter, like something had finally given way. The fundraiser night buzzed with polished small talk and clinking glasses of sparkling water. Nothing like the places Lena usually performed. The community gym had been transformed with rented lights and white tablecloths, but the divide between donors and performers was as clear as ever. Lena waited backstage, stretching carefully, while Marcus circulated through the crowd, answering questions from board members who spoke as if the center existed for their tax write-offs more than the kids it served. Then it happened. A well-dressed man, one of the major donors, looked at Lena warming up and said loudly, "Is she really performing? Seems risky. We want something inspiring, not a liability." Several people murmured in agreement. Marcus stopped in place. Something in his posture sharpened. "She's not a liability," he said, voice steady but unmistakably firm. "She's disciplined, reliable, and one of the strongest performers here. If you can't see that, it says more about than hers." The room went silent. The donor blinked, taken aback by the very public correction from a fellow wealthy sponsor. Lena heard every word. Minutes later, she stepped onto the stage, no apologies, no hiding, and delivered a performance so controlled and fierce that the entire crowd rose to their feet. This time, she wasn't performing to earn hours. She was performing to claim her space. 2 days after the fundraiser, Lena returned to the same stretch of Union Square where everything had unraveled. The sidewalk looked the same: cracked concrete, restless foot traffic, muted city noise. But something inside her had shifted. She set down her damaged speaker, now repaired with cheap tape, and placed her tip jar beside it. Inside the jar sat the familiar $6.25, the amount she once guarded like it was all she had. Today, it wasn't a lifeline. It was a reminder of where she started. She began to dance. Not for hours, not for requirements, just long enough to feel her body belong to her again. Her movements were steadier, her breath calmer. When her leg wobbled, she adjusted without shame. A few people stopped to watch, and then one more. Marcus didn't approach. He stood across the plaza with a coffee in hand, giving her the dignity of distance. When she finished, he simply nodded, a quiet acknowledgement, not a claim. She nodded back. Later that afternoon, she received an email from the East Village Community Dance Initiative. Her audition was confirmed, not because of sympathy, not because of Marcus, but because her fundraiser performance had moved the selection board. Her final judgment was clear. She had earned her place. As she packed up her speaker, she slipped the $6.25 back into her pocket. Not for survival now, but as a symbol of standing where she could and dancing where she must. Some stories don't end with grand victories. Sometimes they end with a quiet nod across a crowded plaza, a repaired speaker, and a girl who refuses to let the world decide her worth. Lena didn't rise because someone rescued her. She rose because someone finally saw her, and she let herself be seen. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the strength hidden in ordinary moments, let us know. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that shine light on the courage we carry every day.